Hello, everyone. Welcome to another recap of 90 Day Fiancé The Single Life. This is Irene. And for those of you that don't know about 90 Day Fiancé, it's a reality show. Usually, couples hook up from different countries and they have 90 days within that time to get the visa so that their partner can come to America. And sometimes they do the transition from America to their partner's country. At this point in time, the single life is all those people that were left behind where the relationships didn't fail in the original 90 Day Fiancé. So this spin-off, The Single Life, is them looking for love once again. So I'm going to talk about a few of the couples that are involved. For those of you that have been keeping up with the show, John and Megan. So starting with them, John invites Megan to his city, his town, his area, and he meets up with his brother and his wife, who were from the original 90 Day, Thais. They're happily married. They have a child. I think they have one on the way, something of that nature. And basically they kind of tell the real on John and say, he's not really ready to settle down. Megan's been wanting him to settle down. She wants a commitment from him. So hearing what his family has to say about him, that he talks about he doesn't want kids, and that's something that she didn't know he was so adamant about. And again, this becomes a question of compatibility, him wanting to be with her, but yet there's some major issues that they don't agree upon. Thais reveals that she's going to have another child if she takes him on as a partner, so that worries her as well. So some things going on with this couple. I'm not sure if they're going to go forward, or Megan even expresses she's not sure what's next, and she's trying to see, should she go forward. She's trying to still get that commitment out of him and see if that's even possible for them to no longer be long distance. So we'll see what happens with that couple. Tyree and Teresa. Tyree went out of town, I think to New Orleans, with I think his brothers, and just to explore, just to get some dating experience, do something different, get out of his comfort zone. So he meets Teresa. The two are night and day. If you guys have seen the show, Tyree is a larger African American guy. Teresa is very thin, Caucasian woman. So he gets up the nerve to talk to her, with his brothers rooting him on, and she's on a girls trip. So they kind of make a connection. They both had failed relationships recently. So they meet up, they do a New Orleans tour. They stop for food. And Tyree, he wants to get his first kiss, but he feels it's not the right moment. But in all intents and purposes, Teresa seems to be a nice girl, kind of redeeming him from his last dating situation where he was stood up. At least he wasn't stood up. She came, she showed up, they bonded. It seems like a friendship. It seems like we'll see what happens next, but he didn't feel that the kiss was suitable for this date. It wasn't like a love spark right away, and he said he's okay with that. He learned that all dates don't have to be a quick connection right away. Sometimes things take time. Sometimes you just make a new friend. But to see that she was cool, that they got along and they bonded, I'm sure that built his confidence up for the next dating experience that he has. So I thought it was a good date. They shared a hug and that was it, and they'll stay in touch is basically how that situation ended. Then we have Natalie, Josh, and Josh's mom. I'm sorry, not Josh's mom, Natalie's mom. Natalie, Josh, and Natalie's mom. So it starts with Natalie's mom really loves Halloween, and she loves the holiday. She loves the colorful decorations. She thinks it's awesome because in her country they don't celebrate Halloween. I just never seen a mom just love Halloween so much. I thought Halloween was kind of creepy, but she just thought it was like a fun holiday. So it was kind of a weird, different take on Halloween. but she just enjoyed Halloween. So I just thought that was a little different. Um, they both went to the Halloween house together, Natalie and her mom, and they started talking about Josh. And Natalie starts revealing some of her past relationships that I was unaware of. And her first marriage was actually pretty good, but she was only 22. The guy was a good guy, but she admitted that it was bad timing for her. Her next marriage was a military guy. He was kind of controlling. And then Mike, which was another 90-day fiance situation. What didn't work out, I'm not sure. She just wasn't vibing with him, but he seemed like a good guy as well. Then we have Josh. Josh to me seems like a little bit of a playboy, but he seems like on some level he's committed to her and trying to do a lot of things to help accommodate her in this country and to start her life over in LA. So he's been somewhat accommodating, but he's been unavailable. He's been a lot of times traveling. It's been a year, and her complaint is he hasn't really introduced her to any of his close family members, his kids. So he spent Halloween with his kids, and she felt bad that he wasn't with her, and he didn't even invite her to whatever was happening. And mom kind of points that out because mom knows her past love history. She knows that, in the past, men have asked her to marry her within months, asked her to move in within months, and he hasn't offered any of those things. He has helped her get her own place, but he really seems like he has another life that's separate from her. And the mom was having an issue with that. She's having an issue that she's not having kids yet, and she's, I think, in her later 30s. So the mom has seen all these marriages and these failed relationships, and she's disappointed that she doesn't have a grandchild. So that becomes something that weighs on Natalie, and now she's unsure of Josh. She was already somewhat unsure, but the mom is really kind of making her feel some type of way and kind of making her see what's kind of always been in front of her. Then we go to Debbie and Ruben the Cuban. They seem like they're really liking each other. They're riding in this 3-wheel vehicle that I don't even know if it's street legal, but they look like they're race car driving in the middle of Miami streets, and nobody cares. He has another crazy colorful outfit on. They're having a good time, and he's saying, well, you might want to consider moving to Miami. She's telling him that my kids are pretty overprotective, especially my son, who's a cop. So she's not sure how this whole thing is going to work out, and he's kind of being a little serious as far as saying, hey, you might need to relocate. Louisa and Tim, they finally share a kiss. She's kind of positioning herself and really trying to get in there for a kiss, and he's like, are you really doing this right now? And most guys would just take the kiss, but he's really like questioning her. But they kissed. It was a pretty involved kiss, I'll say. So he finally gets the kiss. Well, she finally gets the kiss that she's been wanting from Tim, because he seems to be slow when it comes to physical things like that. But they both seem like they were into the kissing, and he's saying, well, hopefully we mesh in these other areas, because it's really important to me that basically that we are compatible, and we'll see what goes on as they move forward. So that was a big step for Tim. But yeah, so that is the recap of what happened on the show. What stands out for me, I'll say with we kind of talked about John and Megan. Is basically, compatibility. Sometimes compatibility is an issue. You may start falling for someone. You may have compatibility in other areas. Like his brother pointed out, they have this physical attraction to each other, but is there anything deeper? There may be, but is John ready to step up and be a father and to be more responsible? That is the question. As well as compatibility, does he even want more kids? She only has one child and she wants more than one. So that's a big issue. I'm happy with how things went with Tyree and Teresa. As far as, sometimes in dating experiences and meeting new people, again, you don't have that love connection, but if you meet a cool person, in the process, I think that it made the whole situation worth it versus someone that doesn't show up, which happened to Tyree before, or someone that's just rude and um, not kind to you on the date, and have certain expectations of you that you're not even aware of, and they're just negative. He had a positive experience, one of his first dating experiences, so I'm happy for him on that. And he's not too disappointed that, hey, he's not in love right away. And he knows that, and I'm glad that he naturally understands the whole thing, even though he doesn't have much experience. The whole situation of dating, it is to kind of get to know somebody and see if you guys have that type of connection. But again, over time, things can grow. If you guys both pursue each other and want to pursue things, then it can grow. There's possibilities there. It's funny, I have to go back to John and Megan, but John's brother and his wife Thais kind of just basically put him out there. But I think it was a good thing because I know a lot of times people in dating situations, relationships, they kind of put their best foot forward and they try to conform on some level to what that other person wants. But just to see the real of what's going on with him, I think it was important for Megan to see the reality and get a reality check of what's going on. And then I'll close with Natalie, Josh, and her mother, because just to see that she had these, to see kind of Natalie's dating history, her marriage history. Actually, she'd been married 3 times, which I was unaware. And a couple of the marriages seemed like it was really on her terms that things probably didn't work out. Either she wasn't ready or she was just not accommodating. She was in a different mindset. And when she chose Josh, he's the type of guy that she likes, but he's not reciprocating the way that she would like. He's not making those commitments that she's used to in the past. And I think sometimes we find ourselves in those situations where she also says if she could go back, she possibly would to her first marriage because everything was pretty good at that time. But because she was young and didn't know anything else and didn't know what was out there, she didn't realize that she already had a good thing in front of her. And I think a lot of people do that. And a lot of people say, well, let me see what else is out there. So she finds this person that she thinks is her perfect one, which is Josh. But again, he's unavailable, there's an issue or something like that. So I feel like when we set ourselves up in our minds to think this is what we want our relationships to look like, we want love to look like, it doesn't always turn out in that way. And it's not exactly a bad thing, but it could be a learning lesson. And kind of hopefully she's learning a lesson through all of these things, that she may have let some good ones go. She may have let some good ones pass her by. And hopefully it's not too late. I don't know if Josh will do a turnaround and be what she wants. She's still married to Mike. I don't know. She's gone back and forth with possibly still being with him. I really don't know what she's going to do, but I don't often see a lot of women in this position. To me, I feel like men more take this position as far as just marrying multiple times and not really being happy, not really being sure, maybe being a little confused, to see a woman in that position. Because I feel like for me, the stability is important, and just to know that that person cares about me and there's not just stable in their lifestyle, but they are stable in their feelings for me. They don't go back and forth. They're not cheating. They're not in and out. That's really basically what a lot of women are looking for. With all the bells and whistles, some ladies are looking for, I have to have this, this, and this. But I think majority of women are not looking for all of those bells and whistles and just looking for someone that um, at least meets the basic standards of a good guy, a good person, and is faithful and loyal. And it's not really that much extra to it. But for some people, they're looking for more. They have this mindset of what they want or what they thought they wanted or what they deserve. And sometimes that could kind of make us slip up. Sometimes that can um, put us in a space where we could have missed out on some good things. But it doesn't mean it's too late, and it doesn't mean that she can't, revamp her mindset and change her life when it comes to her relationships. Mom really played a big part and plays a really big part. I think, again, with two of the couples, Megan and John, his brother and his brother's wife, they kind of played a part on this episode. They kind of played a big part in, hey, what's going to happen with this relationship, and kind of revealed some things. Was it their place? I'm not sure. But it also shows you how family plays a part in your relationships. A lot of times people feel that can be a separate thing, or should family play a part? Well, again, with Natalie, her mother has seen her go through these relationships, and I'm sure her heart goes out for her. She's giving her advice. So your family can play a part, and they can kind of weigh on you as far as how you relate to others, how you deal with romantic relationships, if you're close to your family members, if they have some type of involvement. And is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Can it be helpful? It can be a little bit of all of those things, but you kind of have to just figure out, you have to take their word and, take their accounts as something that you should know and weigh in. But at the end of the day, it's your choice and it's your decision, and you can't leave that on someone else and say, well, my family doesn't like you, or my family thinks this or that, so I'm going to go with that. It really, at the end of the day, is your decision, and you don't want to blame your family for just either making or breaking your relationship. It's all up to you and upon you, and then certain levels of boundaries that you may have to set as you go forward. If you do go forward with that person, or you do have a serious relationship with that person, then those are things that you're going to have to look at. But it just makes me think about how family does play a part in our relationships, and we have to weigh those things in. Will that person not just be compatible with me and my lifestyle, but also my lifestyle includes my family? How will they take our relationship and our situation and different things like that? Will they respect my family dynamics? Or will they be understanding if I have a different type of situation? And sometimes your family, can kind of put you out there and maybe, I won't say give a little bit too much, but honestly, that does need to be known on some level, because as you move forward, just like things with John and Megan's going to need to know some of these things, and it's going to come out. And sometimes the family helps bring those things out. So in a way, the family could be a positive catalyst for that, but they can also be something that can be a little bit embarrassing. It can be something that can be, a hindrance on some level. But they definitely play a part, and you have to figure out how deep and how big a part they play in your final decisions and in your lifestyle and how you're going to live. And will they be boundaries set, or how are things going to go if you move forward with this person in the future? All things that you have to weigh out. I don't think you should ever, because I think I talked about this with Jasmine and Gino, and how his family wasn't really fond of her. I don't think you should ever completely dismiss your family, or like choose your, I don't think you should choose your family completely and just dismiss this person because of your family. It depends on the situation and scenario. and what's going on with that person, if that person has real issues. But I don't think you should have to choose one over the other. I think that's unhealthy to have to make that choice. You shouldn't just have to choose your partner and completely separate yourself from family, but in some cases you do, especially if you might have family members that may be unreasonable and they may be coming up with things or doing things that are just trying to stop and halt your relationship. Or, if your relationship is toxic or whatnot, that's another situation or scenario. But it's just so many different elements and so many different ways that you can weigh things out. But I don't really ever feel that you should be in an ultimatum where you should choose one or the other. There may be times in your life where you may have to kind of separate yourself so you can figure yourself out and your partner. Maybe you could say early within a marriage or newlyweds, you may have times where you are figuring your marriage out, so you won't be around your family as much. Things like that and scenarios like that may happen, but to just completely eliminate your whole family for this person, if that's a requirement to move on with this person, I feel that could be toxic. But sometimes you do have toxic family members that will disrupt and disturb your relationship as well. So again, it could be a catch-22. It could be very difficult to set those boundaries. It's something that you have to figure out within yourself, really, at the end of the day. And hopefully you can make the best decision for everyone. But that is the recap. That is the recap for 90 Day Fiance, the single life. Thought it was a good, interesting episode, and we'll talk more when it comes to love and relationships, fake love and trends, right here on CBiz Media. This is Irene. If you have any thoughts or comments, you guys can always email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com. That's cbiztv@yahoo.com.